Let's go to the ignorance, discrimination and hatred of the pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli, often pro-Hamas protests that have overtaken universities in the United States and here in Australia. I'll share some remarkable revelations about how your tax dollars are feeding into this in a moment. But first, let's have a look at the drama in the US. With students at Columbia University in New York City staging an occupation of administration buildings, the university finally had enough and called in the police. Here's some coverage from Fox News.
They did their best to move in pretty quickly. They got that call only a short time ago from the president, Manu Shafiq here, who's also getting calls to resign and step down because people think she didn't handle this chaos well. So they moved in with those zip ties. They brought in, a special team of people with the NYPD to kind of handle this situation. And then in terms of going in, right, like you said, to go into those windows, it's because they wouldn't come out, and they, they were up on the roof, as we saw today, where they were ordering their dinner orders that were getting delivered and pulled up with ropes. So they didn't know exactly how many protesters were inside. We don't even know at this time, right, if they have all of those protesters cuffed and on those buses. There were several buses, and they weren't full just yet. They had police on some of those that were still going to move into campus. And it's not just for Hamilton Hall, right, Sean? It's also for that Gaza Solidarity encampment. They want that out of here at Columbia for several reasons, including they're supposed to get ready for commencement. It's graduation, right, any day. So they've had enough of it here. But the police had to come in. They had to wait for that call and wait for that call from the university. Jewish students and their families who pay all this money to send them here didn't feel safe. They kept asking, when are they going to call in the NYPD? Well, tonight was the night.
Yeah, it sure was. Good stuff. It should have happened earlier. This behaviour just shouldn't be tolerated. Sadly, though, I think we can expect the tensions to increase in coming days as protesters react on other campuses around the country and things flare up. As you know, we've got copycats in Australia with pro-Palestinian protesters camped at Sydney University now for a week. They've staged all sorts of events and they've blocked roads at times, but perhaps the worst aspect of their protest has been the use of small children.
Intifada, Intifada, Intifada. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. 5, 6, 7, 8, Israel is a terrorist state.
Yeah, Intifada means armed uprising. Previous Intifada have involved countless terrorist attacks on innocent Israelis, killing thousands of civilians. Yet they get kids to chant for Intifada. Now, incredibly, the person who organised the involvement of children and led their engagement and boasted about it online is an academic from another university, Randa Abdel Fattah from Macquarie Uni.
Social media means that the children in Gaza will see you today. So how about we all cheer? And how about we all say Free Palestine? And let the children in Gaza hear your voices raised here on Gadigal land for them. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Free Palestine! How about we all wave to them?
Macquarie University is now investigating whether Abdel Fattah has broken their code of conduct, and the federal opposition has called for government research grants allocated to her to be cancelled. Now, when you look at the grants that Abdel Fattah has received, you see how your tax dollars are being spent on undermining this country. Ever wonder how the radical left becomes so powerful when so few sensible people support them? Well, just look at how your tax dollars are being spent on activism and division. In the 4 years to 2022, Abdel Fattah used a $322,000 government research grant for a project that she called the 9/11 generation, and it was described as providing a unique window into the profound impacts of institutionalised Islamophobia on the everyday lives of ordinary young Australian Muslims. Yet your tax dollars funding nonsense about institutionalised Islamophobia, and we wonder why this country is going backwards. But it gets worse, of course. Abdel Fattah is working on another project now that received more than double that funding. This one is about so-called Arab and Muslim social movements, and it's funded to the tune of almost $840,000 of your tax dollars. The project says it aims to recover previously untapped oral histories and rare archival collections of Arab Muslim Australian activists working in anti-racism, anti-war and feminist social movements from the 1970s to date. It goes on to say, in a world characterised by vast inequalities, we are witnessing urgent local and global debates on how marginalised communities can work together across social justice movements. Really? This isn't tackling inequality and division. This is creating it. It's fomenting it. It's not just a waste of your tax dollars. It's using your tax dollars against your interests. It shows us how unaccountable and out of control government and bureaucracy are in this country. Want to do some research on your own activist political agenda? Sure. Knock yourself out. It's a free world. But taxpayers should not be funding any of this political activism, let alone nonsense that tries to divide us and generate resentment. And if you want to hear just how paranoid and divisive Abdel Fattah is, just look at how she's reacted to today's criticism. On social media, she said, "When Zionists demand my fellowship be cancelled, they are purposefully targeting me and the next generation of Arab and Muslim women academics. They seek to eliminate us from the academy because our voices, knowledge production and impact threaten the white supremacist status quo they are so desperately seeking to maintain." Yep, this woman, this academic who gets children to chant intifada, claims to be a victim of Zionists, and she even reckons those who criticise her are white supremacists. If she's an academic, then what hope do the university students have?